Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to WW-BABAG, the BABAG Network. Today, we're going to give you a sample of every single Westworld podcast that exists right now. You don't have to listen to them because I'm going to give you a frame-accurate imitation of all Westworld TV show podcasts right now. Okay, ready? Let me get here we go. Ready? So it's like two hosts talking, right? So here we go. Hey Tom, did you see Westworld? I did. I watched all of it. Did you? I did. I watched it too. It's our job to watch it. We have a podcast about it. Ha ha. That's true. And on this podcast, we probably should be talking about what's going on the show. That's correct. I'm not sure what that is, though. Do you know what's going on? No, I don't actually. Do you? This season it's the old characters. That's a good thing. And what are they doing? I don't really know. Are they the old characters? I don't know. I have no idea. Are they robots? No one has told me. I'm not sure if they are robots. I don't know what they're doing. What do they do in the show? They have coffee and say things to each other, and I don't know what they're talking about. Either do I. I have no idea what they're talking about. Either do I. Thank you very much. That is my imitation of every Westworld podcast in the world right now. No one has any idea what's going on with that show. And nobody on the show seems to care. I love that. Even HBO doesn't care. There's no disclaimer before the show. You will not understand anything that's going on this show. Please enjoy the broadcast of a show that no one has any idea what's going on, and no one will ever find out. It's crazy. It's crazy. All right, so welcome to the Touchdowns All Day with Jon Barber podcast, where we save you the trouble of listening to podcasts about other shows and entertainment vehicles so you can focus solely on the Disco Biscuits or whatever I happen to be up to, because we've been up to some different stuff recently. We did a Jon Barber live show, which was me in a guitar playing, singing position, so very normal. Different rest of band, and it was cool. It's all local guys, and it's a different thing. It's less of a huge showbiz thing, and more of just a couple guys cooling out, playing some music. And you need that. You need that a little bit when you're a musician. You need to just get out and play, sweat it out a little bit, if you will. We played the Ardmore Music Hall a couple weeks ago. I'm going to do a podcast on that show, and we'll go through some of the jams. Yes, there were jams, and we'll go through some of the highlights. Yes, there were highlights. I know some of you are surprised. I know some of you are shocked. I know some of you are on the edge of your seat. You want to know more. There were highlights. Let me tell you. It was a really fun show. We're going to do more with that band. I'm looking forward to it. After that, just to make matters even crazier, the other day, I was in Atlantic City, and I played a show that was me and a computer. Also singing and playing guitar, my usual thing. But the computer was doing all the other parts. Oh my God. Everyone was dancing. Everyone was singing along. It was a real show. It was big gigantic with a guitar and some vocals instead of a saxophone and some drums. It was a whatever you call that, one-man band. And I know some of you hardcore listeners are like, where's the cymbal between the legs, bro? But I would put the cymbal on the computer and then put a trigger in between my legs and clap the trigger together, and then that would tell the computer play the sample of the cymbals. You know what I mean? So it's similar, but it's a little less embarrassing, I guess. You have more options for clothing with that band than with your standard big band monkey with the cymbals thing. You have a lot of options for neon and jumpsuits and some kind of futuristic floral pattern in Miami colors. And the bottom line is it's just computer music, which is basically every single thing you hear or listen to nowadays, plus a guy who plays guitar and sings, who's singing along with that computer, which is really interesting because essentially I really like it. I got to tell you the truth. It's really fun. It's really fun. I got to say that it's just, you know, in a pandemic era when it's really hard to get everybody into the same room, it's kind of cool to be able to do what you would do if everybody was in the same room, but just, you know, at any point in time, whenever you want to with the computer, just press play. So that dance party was in Atlantic City. It was with our podcast network, the fantastic Osiris Podcast Network, which I am a happy member of. And it was with RJB, the boss of the Osiris Podcast Network. He was kind enough to invite me down there for a conversation with him and his co-host. And then I played about an hour. I think I played in a C2B straight acoustic, which actually I think C2B might live in the acoustic set a little bit more than it would live in the Biscuit set, which would be kind of fun because it was pretty good acoustic. I was surprised. It's not in a great acoustic key, but it was pretty good. I might change the key of it so it fits a little bit, because you could do that with an acoustic much easier than you can with a band. So there's a lot of potential there to do some different things. The reason that I did the computer jam was because that's what I've been doing at home to practice for this amphitheater tour with Humphreys McGee. This is what I've been doing. I mean, can we talk about all these tour dates? Can we talk about all these Biscuit shows? August 14th, by the time you hear this, probably happened. We are playing Catskill Chill all Sunday night. August 18th, TCU Amphitheater in Indianapolis with Humphreys McGee. August 19th, St. Louis Music Park. Again with Humphreys McGee. We'll probably open those two shows, which is still a 2-hour set like we play with these guys, but it's just earlier, so get there earlier. August 2021, Caverns in Pelham, Tennessee with Humphreys McGee. We'll probably headline one of those 2 nights, and Humphreys will headline the other night. So come on Humphreys McGee tour. The one we did in June was awesome. I mean, I did a podcast about it. I really loved it. I like playing 2 hours, leaving it on the stage and walking off. That was a fun experience for me. We're not ditching the set list format, but it's nice for me to have a little fun with the different formats on stage. You know how we're constantly changing things. I know some of you don't love that, but keeps it interesting, for me at least. August 26th, The Intersection in Grand Rapids, Michigan. August 27th, the inaugural Sacred Rose Music Festival at SeatGeek Stadium campus in Bridgeview, Illinois. I did a radio interview about Sacred Rose, and we dropped the Twisted in the Road first play ever on the radio, and I got a lot of responses from heads saying how much they like the song, and it makes me very happy that you guys like the stuff we're making. August 28th, Riverfront Live in Cincinnati. September 8th, the Opera House in Wilmington, Delaware. September 9th and 10th, South Stage at XL Live in Harrisburg, PA, with Dogs in a Pile and Yam Yam. Then there's some moving around of shows in the rest of September, so just keep an eye out. I'm not going to give you the dates because those dates are going to change. Then October 27th, Swanee Music Festival, the Halloween show. August 28th, Salvage Station, Asheville, North Carolina, also the Halloween show. October 29th at Norva, Norfolk, Virginia, also the Halloween show. November 10th and 11th, Infinity Music Hall, Hartford, Connecticut. November 12th, MGM Music Hall, Fenway in Boston, Massachusetts. November 13th, Sherman Theater, Stroudsburg, PA. Played it a couple months ago. Nice little room. November 18th and 19th, Eastern in Atlanta, Georgia. And then there's Transatlantic next year in Reykjavik. I think I'm going to be sold out, so you got to jump on this stuff fast. But anyways, thank you all for listening to the Touchdowns All Day podcast. We are going to do let me tell you what we're doing. Let me just talk about this for a second, because when we kind of broke down in the pandemic in 2020, I had banked a number of podcasts that were basically right at the beginning of the pandemic. A bunch of them. So we're going to do these kind of dual releases whenever possible, because I want to release those podcasts, and I just never did it during the pandemic because I was morbidly depressed that everybody's life was over. And I just didn't want to be morbidly depressed on a podcast because, that's like permanent. You know what I mean? I would like podcasting in a more Snapchat-like format, if you understand what I'm saying. So I didn't release any of those podcasts, but some of them are great. I mean, I have an incredible conversation with Pete Shapiro, incredible conversation with Pigeons Playing Ping Pong. I have some really fun stuff that, like Karina Rykman did an incredible podcast with me. And then I saw Karina at the Brooklyn Mirage last summer when we played there. And she was like, "What's up? You didn't release my podcast. Like, what's your problem? Like, why?" And, she told me she really was upset that I didn't release her podcast. And I felt sad because I should have released it. I should have released all of them. I should have done it. I felt bad that I didn't get them out. But now we get to do something fun because of that. It would have been one thing if I threw the hard drive into some lava or something like that. But I didn't. I kept it. I kept all the files. And now we're going to do a re-release of those pre-pandemic podcasts, but we're going to attempt whenever possible to do a post-pandemic interview as well with the same person. It's not like it's 100 things. It's just a couple people. So don't worry. The podcast is going to go back to music and stuff like that, but we are going to try and release these pre-pandemic, post-pandemic interviews because I think it's just cool to hear people's vibe from pre-pandemic to post-pandemic. Not that we're, I'm going to say post-pandemic. I'm fingers crossed on that. So, hey, this is the Karina Rykman interview, and there's two. There's one I recorded on May 11th, 2022, which was just the other day, and then there's going to be the May 2020 interview, which is going to be episode 46. So this is episode 45 of the podcast. Episode 46 is going to be 2020, so we're going to do the new one first, and then you can listen to them back to back and maybe a little vibe. Everybody knows Karina. She's an American bassist and guitarist from Manhattan. She's the daughter of philosopher Jon Barber and Ann Boyman, both professors from Columbia. Thanks for that tidbit, Karunk. She is best known for, she was in Marco Benevento's band on bass. It's so much easier to say that if you throw a little swagger into them. If you try and say Marco Benevento, you never get through it. But if you go Marco Benevento, it just rolls right off the tongue. She replaced Dave Dreiwitz in that band. Dave's great bass player. But as you will hear from our tour interview, she has a lot up her sleeves. She does a lot of gigs. She has an incredible musical resume. And Karina's musical resume has grown too large to keep track of. I love that. That's such a Crunk move for the document right there. Crunk's like, I'm like, Crunk, can you please just put a little list together of some things that Karina's done and up to so I can, sound smart on the podcast? And Crunk's response is, Karina's musical resume has grown too large to keep track of. That's a great way to do it. You know what I mean? Because I can say that and we can move on to the interview and y'all have no idea. And Crunk doesn't have to do anything to write that sentence. He just has to write that sentence. So, wait, he did put some things down. Here we go. She was on Karina, not Crunk. Karina was on the Today Show with Julia Michaels. She did sound check with Fish at Madison Square Garden. She played in the backing band with the Howard Stern Show at Radio City Music Hall. That's gotta be awesome. America's Got Talent with a flame-spewing helmet on her head. She's done gigs with everybody from Mo to Disco Biscuit, Soul Life, Robert Randolph, Marco Benevento, Everyone Orchestra, and now finally her own band. So listen to both of these interviews and you can get a really good idea of what she's up to. She's an incredible talent. She's a great bass player. She's a really funny person. I really enjoyed both of these conversations with her a lot. This is kind of what's great about the podcast is being able to now Karina and I, we hang out, we're like friends. So it's nice to be able to make friends with people who are super cool, super talented, and doing great things for the scene. She also played the holidays show we did in this last, I guess, a year ago or something, whenever that was. So, we've done a couple gigs together, and I'm excited to do more. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Karina Rykman episode new, and then 46 will be episode old. And you can go, and we're going to drop them both at the same time, so you don't have to wait 2 weeks to hear the other one. You can just go back to back. Great. So, real quick, before we get into the interview, we have a new sponsor. They are Immaculate Seeds and Spores at Immaculate Seeds and at Grow Active Solutions. They're from St. Louis. They thank you for their support. Follow them on IG and stop by Grow Active Solutions in St. Louis, which is 3612 Hartford Street, St. Louis. We are going to do an incredible ticket giveaway with them. And it is basically any show you want to go to that is normal tickets. Like, obviously, Iceland would be hard, but any other show. We're going to do a pair of tickets. If you want to be part of the ticket giveaway or you want a free packet of seeds, go to the store, either online through Instagram or the actual, brick and mortar place at 3612 Hartford, and mention Touchdowns All Day when you order. You'll be entered into a contest to win a pair of VIP tickets to a Disco Biscuit concert. And you know how we work these contests on Touchdowns All Day. It's super loose. It's super fun. And if you win the contest, we'll make sure you are happy. We will always take care of our people. Always. Immaculate Seeds at Immaculate_Seeds at Grow Active Solutions in St. Louis and on Instagram. Immaculate Seeds is a cannabis genetic and spore bank. Okay, let's get to this. It's a cannabis and spore bank. So you can get cannabis and hemp seeds, clones, and spores. Okay? So you buy the seed or the spore and you grow the plant, right? Immaculate Seeds work with some of the best breeders in the country to offer a curated menu that farmers can trust. 20 plus years in the community. They have DNA testing kits to confirm the gender of the cannabis plant. They ship coast to coast. And they have a summer sale right now, 20 to 50% off everything on the menu. Mention T-Dad when ordering, get a free pack of seeds and get entered to win the tickets. So not only if you mention Touchdowns when you buy, you don't not only get entered into the contest to win the free tickets, but you also get a free pack of seeds. And you can use those seeds to do whatever seeds do. I mean, I don't have time to research what seeds do. I don't know. I'd have to Google that. Google cannabis seeds and see what it does. And then if you want them, go to Immaculate Seeds. They're immaculate. They sponsored this show. Touchdowns All Day with Jon Barber podcast, brought to you by Immaculate Seeds. All right, folks, welcome to the next episode of Touchdowns All Day podcast with Jon Barber. Today we are having the second interview with the one and only Karina Rykman. We had Karina on the show when the pandemic began, so we have an episode of Karina right when the pandemic hits. Great conversation. And we were going to release that. And we reached out to Karina and told her, hey, we're going to release that. And she said, well, let's cut another one because that one's pre-pandemic and, the pandemic is coming to an end. And then it took us 6 months to get that done. So here we are today doing the second episode, and we're just going to release both of them for you guys. And you can just binge out on Karina and her career and everything that's going on with her over the next week or two till we put out another one. Be a lot of great questions. We have some fan questions for Karina today, which look pretty interesting. A little bit of stuff that I think is going to add some good color to the interview. Thank you, fans, for reaching out with questions. It really helps us. And Karina and I really got to know each other during the 1.0 interview, and we got along really well. And every time I've seen her since, it's been a really cool conversation. They played Mayan Holidays with us this past December. She played with her band, and I was at that show. It was very cool. So a lot of positives here, and we are going to get into that right now. I think she's coming into the studio any minute now. Let's just talk about what she's been up to in the podcasting world. She had a great Relics podcast called 3 from 7. She did 124 episodes of that podcast, which, what are we on, 43? So crazy podcasting. So she has another podcast out on the Osiris Podcast Network, our podcast network here for the Touchdowns All Day podcast as well. This podcast is with her quarantine mate, Isaac Sloan, and it's called Inappropriate Happiness with Karina Rykman and Isaac Sloan. They have a lot of episodes in the can, and apparently there's a lot of good listening there in the podcast world. Let's talk to her about it. She just got...
What's happening?
How are you? What's going on?
Dude, good. How are you? Not much. It's been a long time. Thanks for the redux. It's just...
Yeah, it took us almost longer. We were like, yo, let's put that podcast out. And I was like, great. And then you're like, let's do another one. And then I was like, okay.
I was just like...
2 years later, here we are.
It's like May 2020 is it's just a different world. It was like, putting out May 2020 in like April 2022 felt off. I don't know.
This is a great idea because it's going to be, people are going to listen to both episodes at the same time, basically, and
great.
And they're going to hear a very authentic pre-pandemic, post-pandemic voice, because honestly, the music business was so heavily affected by the pandemic that we were forced to experience the full brunt of it in the entire business. So where you were and where I was also in that first interview is going to be very like real pandemic conversation. And then we'll have this, which is like what happened. We survived the pandemic.
Right.
I feel like we made it through okay somehow. I mean, how do you feel about it?
I mean, yeah, all of the above is just, it's amazing because, yeah, when you think back to that like time capsule of that last podcast we did, like that was the trenches. That was like the depths of the trenches. Like I'm straight up talking about like killing a turkey on the fucking commune I was living on in upstate New York.
All right, I got to turn that on. Hold on a second.
Oh, yeah, you're good.
Sorry, I'm dumb.
You're good.
I didn't turn it on.
No, you're totally good.
Okay, so so you were killing turkeys on the property.
I was trying to for a bounty, I was trying to, because my friend's dad said he'd give me $5,000 if I was able to kill one of them we had no tools, I was running around with a tennis racket trying to kill one of the turkeys. But that's just, I say that just because that's how low, how low I had sunk during that time. And by that, we were okay. We totally did just fine up there. But yeah, I mean, that's a different era of life, and at least these days it's not quite back to normal. But yeah, I feel, I mean, shit, worlds away from where we were the last time we spoke. So might as well, do something that's not so anachronistic, or have both. We have the mix of both, which is great. So
yeah, we'll see how it works. It could be the first of a whole retrospective that people start putting out pre-pandemic series. It could be very artistic, very important to the interview process.
Wildly to have the before and after, dude. You gotta have the before and after. Gotta have the trenches and the post trenches. It's good stuff. It's really great. Aye. Well, I didn't kill a turkey. Came so that's for all the vegans and like sensible people out there, it didn't happen. I'm still broke and it's all good. And it all worked out just fine. Came back down to the city in July of 2020, but when we spoke I was living up in Rhinebeck, New York at my friend's house which was lovely and incredible. And, you know, we had a good little posse going up there in a very insular and excellent way, which you needed at that time. But then, yeah, came back to the city, haven't looked back, haven't yearned for any trees or any nature. I feel like I got my fill in those 4 months I lived up there.
It's a long time to be in nature.
For me, it was the longest I'd ever been outside of New York City in my entire life. So it really was a long time to be away.
That's impressive.
Yeah, you know, yeah. But I'm like, you know, I'm addicted to the pavement, man. I'm addicted to, you know, the nitty gritty. So it's good to be back. And yeah, shit's been good. How's shit with you? What the fuck's going on?
Well, I used to be addicted to the pavement myself, but I moved out to the country, and now I live in the middle of nowhere. I mean, there's like horse-drawn carriages around here and stuff, and like weird Revolutionary War fences and stuff like that. And I don't know, I do this real like sleepy life. I have this little studio, which you can see right here in my basement, which I've been working on.
Amazing.
I put up some cubes. And
looks sick.
We've been making,
love it.
Yeah, we've been making all the new Disco Biscuit releases. We've made them all down here, and they sound great.
Amazing.
And so I'm like, all right, maybe there's something going on out in the country where you can get a lot of work done and just like live easy for a minute. It's not LA.
Totally.
This is, you know, last time we talked, I think I was living in Los Angeles, and I haven't even been back since then, really, except for once.
Wow. So where are you exactly now? What's going on?
I am west of King of Prussia Mall in Pennsylvania.
Wow. That'll do it.
King of Prussia is as far as you ever want to get from Philadelphia if you're down here.
Sure.
But I ended up going all the way out here just because it was the pandemic and we didn't know where to go. And our families all live out here, and we have this little baby, and he's like got to be out here. It's good for him. So I made a baby decision. It's not really a great Jon decision, you know. For me, I could be in New York, I could be in LA, I could be in Nashville, even anything would pretty much be better than here as far as that goes. But I've been adjusting, you know. I like the life out here.
I think that's great. And, you know, when you have offspring, you gotta, you know, it's no longer all about you. Not that I have any, but like, right. You have to like think about the child, the well-being, where you are, all that fun stuff. So good on you. Good on you in PA.
So do you like being back in New York? Are you happy about that? Or do you miss living out in Turkey Land?
I don't miss Turkey Land. I don't miss Turkey Land. As grateful as I know, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I feel like it was, by the way, some of the best. I am so grateful for my time up there with my best friends, with my boyfriend, with all. We had a beautiful existence up there, and it's exactly, you know, I'm beyond spoiled for the time we spent up there together. It was everything and more. Let me start off by saying that. It was spectacular. We all played music. We were all jamming. It was fucking phenomenal. Beautiful time, beautiful environs, all great. But I feel like it turned me even more severely into, like, I'm born and raised in Manhattan. It made me even more severe about how I can't leave the city. I'm like, I'll tell you what I love, Barber. I love the beach.
Right.
I'm a beach person, but I'm not a woods person. I'm not.
Ticks.
No ticks, no spiders. You don't want to see me with the spot. Like, it really turns me into a screaming little bitch. I'm running around. It's not what you want to see, you know? So, maybe somebody wants to see it.
Any content is good content nowadays, especially if it's emotionally charged.
It's more than emotionally charged. It's emotionally wrought with extreme lunacy and anxiety. But it's all great. It's all great. I'm thrilled to be back in New York. It's all excellent. Yeah, I mean, I go out when I go to Marco's house. Marco lives in Woodstock, so go up there. Same shit. It's very rural. You get your woods. You get your nature. Very pleasant. And I get it, man. I get it. He has, huge studio and peacocks and chickens that lay eggs that he fucking eats every day. It's like, there's certainly something to it. But it's not for me. you know.
How often do you have to be up at Marco's place?
I'll tell you, very, very little. We really test the boundaries of probably the least rehearsals for any band. I feel like I've rehearsed with Marco. I could probably count on two hands the number of times we've actually like rehearsed at his place. Like we're the masters of the sound check rehearsal and whatnot. But like, you know, it doesn't happen too frequently. But like, stay over there plenty. My band we played in Albany and then went and crashed at his place in Woodstock that night. And like, you know, we definitely stay up there plenty. Like at the beginning of the tour, we'll crash there and then like head out from there or whatever. But it's not as often as you'd think. It's really not as often as you'd think, but we make it work. It's not, you know, that's his prerogative, you know what I mean? He's just, I'm ready to go. But he's like, you got it. And he never tells me what songs we're playing. He never, like, there's never a set list. There's never brush up on this. It's just like, yeah, you got it. It's all good.
So how do you know the songs? How do you learn your material or whatever makes you feel comfortable in the songs?
I mean, sometimes you don't feel comfortable and you're just like, shit, I think we played this one back in 2017, but I'm not so sure. And you're just like, fuck, is there a B section? Oh shit, there's a B section. Oh my God, what is it? Oh my fucking God. And you're on stage just like, did I nail it? Yeah, got it. You know, and it's just in the trenches of your memory. Like when I first joined the band, I had to learn like 45 tunes, I feel like. Wow. And so I learned all of those, and those are just, you know, even ones that we don't play often. They're like in the trenches. They're somewhere in there, you know?
Right.
So at soundcheck, he'll be like, oh, do you remember this one? And I'll be like, ooh, yeah, I guess I do. I guess I do remember that. And then, you know, we'll dust it off at a soundcheck and then see how it goes. He's very trusting that way. I'm less trusting. I'm much more controlling with my band. Like
me too. I have trouble with that. I have trouble showing up to gigs without knowing what I'm playing, even if I don't rehearse it.
Sure.
I still need to know like in advance what it is for some weird reason. It just like it's an anxiety that goes away. If I'm on the plane knowing what my set list is, I don't even try the songs. But I know, oh, this is happening. Then when I get there, it feels very comfortable for some odd reason. I don't understand. It's a mental thing.
No, I totally feel that. And I'm the same way. I'm always on edge in a good way, but he also puts you at ease, you know, because he's very, very much just like, you got it. It's fucking rock and roll. It's all good. Like whatever. But I'm on your boat with that. So with you guys, do you like, how's the set list get developed? And like, are you like, yo, we're going to do this tonight. We're going to rehearse this. Like, does it go through that rigmarole and who decides all that?
We do a ton of set list rehearsal. We do at sound check, we rehearse songs that we haven't played in a long time or anything new. We used to do all the tractor beam during sound check because generally the tractor beam involved every button. So it was like a good way to sound check. And then we did a lot of, there's just a lot of different songs that we play and a lot of rotation. I feel like the Disco Biscuits is like a pop quiz every single night. It's just like, oh, this song, like I haven't even listened to that song. And it's like, oh, that one. There's a lot of that. So we have to play through every song in the set before we walk out on stage the day we do that show. And if we don't, we'll screw up that song. We have to play through.
And do you like fast forward through the jams, or you like are doing the entire fucking thing we every day?
Do the jams on purpose. We do the jams because we forget not to jam. We'll be backstage and you just be like screwing around and somebody will switch something. Next thing you know, we're jamming off of that. But we don't like the jam. We don't want to pre-do the jam because we want it being in the jam to feel fresh on stage.
Sure. Totally. That makes sense. But all of the structured portions of the songs that you play that night, you are doing in sound check.
Oh, yeah. Well, not on sound check because I can only stand on stage. I have like a problem standing up on stage for that long. I just like can't handle standing on stage for 3 hours and then walking off stage and being like, we haven't even started yet. Like that, right. It doesn't make any sense to me. So after an hour, I'm like, I gotta get off the stage. So we try and do whatever we can in an hour. That's why we do a lot of multi-night runs, because it's night 2 really fits the schedule. Night 1, it's really hard to get that done.
Sure, totally. So you're doing all that you can in sound check, but then you're going backstage and being like, yeah, let's run through this, that, and the other thing, and getting that popping. That, you see, that makes sense to me. That makes sense to me. I like that, because then you feel fucking comfortable and confident in what you're about to do. And then I do the same shit with my band. We leave the jam, get through all the shit that's through composed, leave the jam for the stage, for the show, save it for the show.
Save it for the show.
And, then it's fucking spontaneous and cool, and God willing, something interesting happens. And if it doesn't, there's tomorrow.
Well, when you guys are in something, when you're in that jam with Marco, because when I listen to Marco's music, it's so wild and just he doesn't seem to have any limitations of scales or keys or anything like that. Nothing of that stuff seems to get in his head or bother him ever. I'm just wondering, is there some kind of advice that he gives you and how to play in that format? Like when I play with people, they'll be like, okay, we're in E minor. And I'm like, okay, we're in E minor. Are you guys really ever really in E minor, even if the song is in E? Like, how do you decide how to play along with that?
Well, playing along with him is fascinating and spectacular, because he is, well, first of all, he's a savant, you know what I mean? He's that good that none of this phases him, you know what I mean? And he's just so confident and so good to go, which he is. He's super fucking good to go. Me, on the other hand, I don't fucking know. I'm it's actually we barely ever. He never says, and then here we'll go from E minor to whatever. It's literally just you got it type shit. He's so kind of like the ultimate punk rock ethos, you know what I mean? While being this jazz savant. It's absolutely fascinating. And I've taken, I love that sensibility in so many ways, because it's just wow, it's sink or swim out there. And that guy's so fucking brilliant at his instrument, and he's a compelling force of nature that you're just all right, well, let's see what the fuck happens, and let's see what key this ends up in, and, see if I add the right notes to embellish the notes you know what I mean? It's weird. And then if I do something weird because he's so good, he's just oh yeah, I'm right there with you. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's this kind of, but things are very infrequently spoken about, if that makes sense. It's literally if I'm just yo, do you mind if we run this? He's oh yeah, totally. And then we'll get to it. He's you got it. You're good. And I'm but am I good?
It's funny. I've heard that a lot about the jazz guys, especially the earlier jazz guys like Dizzy and, early Coltrane, early Miles, was that they didn't their music is so combed over from a theory perspective. But for them, it was more yo, we're just going to do hit the standard to keep up or whatever. It wasn't quite as theoretical. It was a lot looser and more random than people really give it credit for.
Sure. And these are theoretically the people who know the modes and the intricacies better than any dipshit off the street, you know what I mean? Or any, who, and it's kind of fascinating when you see these people who are so schooled and so capable and fluent in the language of music that they're just we're just playing, man. We're just fucking playing. And that's there is something wildly, actually really inspiring about that, because it's just about trust in your musical compadre. You know what I mean? He's just he trusts me for some godforsaken reason. I don't know why, but he's just you're good, man. I'm yeah, I will meet you right there. And thank God you're so good, because, I'm just trying to make him sound as good as possible all the time. It's his thing, and it's his music, and just want to be there as the supporting figure in the whole thing. But yeah, no, it's kind of fascinating, and it's definitely he has such a good way of which I definitely try to bring to my band, of just you never overthink it. You take it seriously, but not too seriously, in terms of you're not making yourself sick over what the fuck is like either just occurred or what's about to occur. You're just living so freely and in the moment and tied to the moment. He's really, it's remarkable the way he kind of embodies the whole thing. So it's awesome. It's an awesome thing.
Very cool. I think if I was playing with y'all, I would move up and down a half step in whatever I was doing all the time. I would just be like, okay, do something. And on the third time through, I'd be like, just move a half step and see what happens.
Oh, dude.
Watch you guys just like automatically react and respond without even thinking about it while you're, I'm sure it's would be pretty amazing.
I'm like, I feel that half step movement that Jon's fucking throwing in there. I just feel it. What the fuck, dude? I feel him
all the time. I feel like, especially chromatic runs, you can move them around by half steps as far like the group of the run, and people can never tell because it's a chromatic. But
sure.
Getting the root movement and the end of the scale movement, and then you can pull away the chromatic, and you just have the root, and you're off by and then you can pop back, and there's just you can go on for days with stuff like that.
Totally. Well, you do it well. You do it real well.
It's interesting. It's interesting because so cool. It's generally random. It's very random.
Sure. And it's just something you're feeling in the moment and just trying to cook up or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. It's cool. Like when there's the HBO show about the Lakers and they're talking about Magic Johnson and like him playing basketball, and he just started doing the skyhook, Kareem's skyhook. And he's not supposed to be doing a skyhook. He's not playing post, And,
right.
And yet, he's just having fun with it, just going for it. And it became his signature shot, I think, I don't want to give away what's probably going to happen in the next episode. But are you watching any good television right now? Do you have?
I'm so remiss when it comes to television, Barber. It's really sad. It's some sad shit. I'm behind on absolutely everything I've started so little. You need to point me in a good. I'm watching It's Always Sunny reruns. That's what I'm looking at.
That is the classic I'm a New Yorker answer, to be honest. Like, I never watched TV when I lived in New York either. It's like, you live in New York. What do you don't have a room for the TV, A, and B, where are you gonna? Why nobody has a couch even, and you're gonna go out. There's great food. There's everything to do. Yeah, of course.
It's such a shame. Yeah, it's really true. When I lived in the country, we watched TV every night. Those were the golden days. Those were the golden days.
It's like me. I watched a season of Australian Survivor a few weeks ago, and I was just like, this is the bottom of the barrel right here. I'm watching bad game shows that aren't even in America. You're not even allowed to watch them in America. Pirating bad television. That's the level.
It's unbelievable. Oh, it's so good. I wish I watched more, and I was just, honestly, I've been I was gone the entire month of March on tour, opening for Pigeons playing ping pong for the whole month. And then more shows, like headlining shows back across the country from the West Coast and whatever. And then I was home for like what felt like 2.5 weeks. I think it was 2.5 weeks. And then I just did another like 12-day run with this band called Too Many Zoos, which was awesome. And then just did the festival. And then I just went to an undisclosed location to mix my record the next day, like drove back from Atlanta, went to the undisclosed location, mixed my record, and then got back like 48 hours ago. So I feel like I've just not had a second to like, the greatest joy is watching South Park in your hotel room at 3 a.m. when you come back from the gig. That is really what I live for. It's fantastic television. It's great. And you can always depend on it. It's very comforting,
With good hotel supplies, I might add. If you have some bubbly waters and maybe sliced mango or something, and then you have some South Park, it's
phenomenal.
You can do on the road.
A Toblerone. You're not even worried about the Toblerone getting on the sheets because it's not your problem, It's just great. It's unbelievable stuff. You're taking a bath. You're taking... this is a deep cut here, but I'm like, I straight up, I can't even say it because it's so ridiculous. I take a bath in every shiesty ass, disgusting hotel room, and every day I come down to the lobby and everybody is just like, tell me you didn't do it. Tell me not tonight. you didn't do it here, right? I'm like, ooh, yeah, I did it here. They're like, oh, sister, no, please, God, how did you do it? I'm a big fan. I love the hotel bath. I think it's great. It's I'm a woman of luxury, John. I think it's great.
To me. I don't know what your bandmate.
Thank you.
What's the problem with your bandmate? You're cleaner than them easily.
A bath in the evening and a shower in the morning, and your girl's good to go. I'm just, I don't know how you relax after the gig. A little South Park, a little Toblerone, a little bath.
It's almost identical, except my bathtub needs to be like in the back of a pickup truck because I'm way too big for the bathtub at whatever we're at.
We should build that. Can we build that? I'm like way into that. Let's go.
We could. I mean, what do you
in rural
that
PA?
Water if you hit the brakes on I-72? Like, what happens to all the water in the back? We just need to figure that one little thing out and then go with it.
You just splash onto the Amish's like horse and buggy behind you, and you say sorry, and keep driving. I don't know. I think
like hallelujah or something. Crazy white people with electricity shit. They have Amish people here in my neighborhood. I see Amish people all the time.
That's what I'm saying. Is I'm in my fantasy, I come to you, we buy a pickup truck together, and we figure out some crazy, people with electricity shit, figure out how to heat the water in the back of the pickup, drive all around to like King of Prussia, make it rain. I don't know. I'm just spitballing.
It would be an incredible way to promote this album that you're making in an undisclosed location. Is that the name of the studio, non-disclosed location?
Not quite.
It's not taken, so they went with non-disclosed location.
They were like, Muscle Shoals is taken, so we're thinking, yeah, no, totally. Karina, let me tell you, that's how we did it down in Muscle Shoals. Let me tell you about Muscle Shoals.
He still owns that studio.
Is that true?
Yeah, he plays drums in Modern Measure, and no, they bought it after the fact. It's just a little tiny studio. It's like buying a barber shop, you know what I mean? It's this little tiny, like, cinder block building down there, but they just happened to have gotten Aretha when the band was about as hot as any band has ever been. So that's
sure.
I think that's why they got it is what it is. But tiny little room, nothing special at all. But
just the most special shit. Just the most special records ever, Yeah.
Seriously. The most special. You could probably remember when they took Yankee Stadium and they took it apart and they sold all the pieces of Yankee Stadium. It was like $40,000 for a piece of rock from the front of Yankee Stadium, and people paid for it. You could probably get more for Muscle Shoals Studio if you separated it into the bricks and sold them off or something like that. I don't know why that matters. I'm just thinking in my head that non-disclosed or undisclosed location is probably I would love. I haven't thought of a name for this studio yet, but I wish I thought of that because it would be a great studio name.
Dude,
super cool.
Take it. Run with it.
I just don't want to. I don't want to step on whatever studio you went to's toes by if that's the name.
I think they're fine. I think they're really fine on that, and you can totally take it and run with it. You could park your pickup with the hot tub in the back, and it's all good. I think
I'm gonna get sued. Don't even give me that. I know what's gonna happen.
It's like, Barber, the lawyers are calling. You're cease and desist.
You have to change it to non or no disclosed, or just change the and you'll be fine. So, how many songs did you make for this record? Let's get down to it.
We're talking. It's a 9-song record.
Whoa.
I can't wait to. Yeah, it's a classic number, right?
That's not a millennial EP 4.5. That's.
There's nothing millennial about this shit, Barber. We're going straight to Gen X with this shit. Unfortunately, we should be reaching younger, but it's me. It's a little complicated.
All pot, all consumed while listening to your album, must be consumed in smoked form. You cannot eat a gummy. You have to roll a joint and smoke it.
It'll probably work better if you do it analog. The analog joint will probably do you better. But who am I to say? You can do it however you want to do it.
I'm still going to do gummy. I'm sorry. I'm not.
Oh, great.
I'm still going to do gummy.
Hey, man, however you got to get through the record is totally cool by me. It's really all good. I will tell you this.
Yes.
maybe the best 10 seconds of the record features Aron Magner on the keys, which is a fun feature. First time I'm saying that out loud in a semi-public format, so that's cool. He absolutely bodied this shit, might I say, and
He does.
He's good at the stuff and the things, man. He's good.
Yeah.
Clutch cargo guy, man. Clutch cargo guy. Kid can play. Just kid can play. Yeah, man. No, it's exciting. It's all excellent. I can't wait till I can like talk about it more. You know.
If you look inside my head, can you see the colors blend? Red wine with the UB49. Dixie stick snorting seems like cigarette contorting for a coveted mindset with copious silence. We got all we need if you just listen to the trees when they speak with their breeze at ease. Impulse is often to the contrary, especially when everything is arbitrary. If you come before a judge, take a stance. When they say take a seat, you dance. I am an architect, I'm a lunatic. If you let me, I'll turn it up right quick. Carousels are for getting crazy. I'm singing with my taxi driver like Scorsese. Kinda feeling liquid like Dow Jones. Tactic, low pass in my bones. Yeah, that's right. Impulse is often to the contrary, especially when everything is arbitrary. If you come before a judge, take a stance. When they say take a seat, you'll dance.
I can divulge more soon, but right now I can't. So, you know, that's
I don't
it's a great.
understand that. Why can't you divulge anything? This podcast's not going to come out for 2 years. The album is going to be out already when the podcast.
If the podcast comes out in 2 years, man, like you just got to promise me it comes out in 2 years, and then I can divulge all this crazy shit about it.
Yeah,
But there's
I'll
crazy shit.
promise.
There's crazy shit. It's very, you know,
mouse
it's
years. two chinchilla years is what it would be.
couple chinchilla ears. Yeah, totally. You know, I had 2 chinchillas growing up. Let me tell you about that.
Come on.
That's-
That's-
Chili.
That's-
Chili was the first one,
Mhm.
and Chi Chi was the second one.
Wow.
Bless them both, man.
Did you name
Bless
them both when you were a kid?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What great dog
Dude.
names.
Chili and Chi Chi.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Amazing. You know what I like
Unbelievable.
about it? It's extremely cute and playful, but it's not like also a type of barbecue sauce. You know what I mean?
That helps a lot. Oh, dude, totally.
I don't know when people
100%.
give their dogs like playful names that also happen to be like a phrase or something like that.
Right.
No offense to anyone.
Well, let me ask you that.
who
What
did
the
that.
fuck?
Ben and Jerry.
I-
Well,
Right. Here, I have a bit of a bone to pick, and I shouldn't say this all out loud, especially not on your podcast, but like, you know, people, all these heady fucking people naming their dogs Jerry
Mhm.
and Tila
Frank,
and
that-
fucking Karini
Mhm.
and Harpua, like all this shit, you know what I mean? Like, are you ever encountering any dogs named Shemrabu?
No.
Okay, good.
Our family
Well, that's good.
does
That
not
at least-
name their dogs after our music. It's
I bet you-
it's unspoken.
I would be willing to bet there are some Shemrabus running around. And like, I'm kind of more into that than I am the Tilas of the world. It's kind of a little more creative.
I mean, honestly, the problem with the whole disco biscuit scene is that like the like guys and girls name each other like hot air balloon. You know what I mean?
There you go.
Like
That's,
I don't know. Some girl will be like, I don't know what my boyfriend's talking about. He's just a fucking hot air balloon. Just let him go.
Oh.
Let him do his thing. It's more like tongue in cheek like that. It's less birth certificate. It's
right. It's more like that. But how about this? Do you go on Instagram and see that you've been followed by like 10 people and they're all named like Bernstein and Chasnoff 6969, and then they're named like all that. Yeah, right? Like even me, I'm not even in the Disco Biscuits, and I'm followed by Bernstein and Chasnoff 696969. Like, I don't know. How did I get so lucky? It's probably a bot.
yeah, it's actually a political bot. It has nothing to do with the disco biscuits. It's just
Right.
named it that. So
Totally.
convince you like that plastic is good for the ocean or something like that. You know what I mean?
I knew it, dude. I fucking knew it.
The dolphins
It's all a
love the
ploy.
taste of plastic. That's what that pot is supposed to do.
It's great. Well, it's a good thing I didn't follow back.
Sometimes plastic goes into the dolphin's teeth and cleans out unhelpful plaques and other contaminants with like a smiling dolphin.
It's like, dude, you're just helping the dolphins out, bro. Don't even unclip those beverage. What do you call those? The plastic that holds the brew dogs together. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. The thing you have to cut that or you feel like a bad person. Yeah.
If you don't cut that, you're probably strangling wildlife. But maybe you're flossing a porpoise's teeth. So
Maybe,
who the fuck knows?
nobody ever talks about that part, you know? These are the
always things.
Strangle. It's never the floss. It's just today's media is unbelievable. Well, I'm excited to listen to this album, and I'm excited that you made a 9-song album. That's really good. It's really hard to do. We can't even do it. I don't see anyone pulling off that kind of production.
You know?
Did you play those? So I told in the preamble to this podcast thing, I was like, hey, we did the Mayan holidays together this past year, or whatever they call the Tulum holidays that we did, or whatever it was. And then, and you played Saturday night, right? You played at like 11:30 or something.
I played like the first like real night, like the whatever that was, the Friday, the Thursday. I have no fucking clue with that, but it was early on there, and it was like the first late night, and it was after you guys. Yeah.
So
totally.
Did you play any of the songs that are in that 9 in that set? Or are you not allowed to tell me that?
No, I could totally tell you that. That I can tell you. Yes, I did.
Wow. Okay.
And the two, I have 6 singles that are out and alive in the universe as of this current moment, right? And the 2 of those 6 that have made it onto this record are Plants, which is my first single, and then this tune, Elevator, which is my second single. And those 2 made it onto the record, but Plants didn't really get a facelift, but it sort of got a little remixed and remastered. And Elevator did get a facelift. It's the same but different. It's the same but different, you know. So that's cool. Yeah, and I played both of those at holidays. That was the shit. And I played we were actually totally road testing shit there. We played a tune called Trampoline that made it on the record, and a tune called Beacon that made it onto the record. And other than that, no, I think that's it. I think that's where it ended right there. So 4 tunes on the record were played at holidays.
Is that great. Beacon like I'm your light in the darkness, or is it Beacon like we met at the Beacon Theater?
Well, a little bit of both, you know. A little bit. No, really, more of the light in the darkness, if push came to shove. But I mean, for the amount of nights I've spent at the Beacon Theater, I think it kind of, you know, they're one and the same to me. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm sure, right? That's been the one consistent room.
Dude, and I used to go to every night of the Almonds. That was like my thing in high school. I was absolutely, you know, the power of Warren compelled me, and I was there every single night, just doing it proper, going to school the next morning. Like, I
remember that. They used to do
deep
30 nights in a row at the Beacon or something crazy like that.
It's what it felt like. I think it was 10, but it definitely felt like 30. It was a marathon, not a sprint. It was a beautiful thing. Miss it dearly. Really made March in my eyes, but it's okay. You know, you can't keep clinging to the past here. It's okay.
No, you can't. You have to, you know, move to the tunnel or wherever the future is. Is there a time at Electric Forest you and Marco are playing?
That's a great question. I mean, I'm sure there is. I don't know what time it is. Are you guys doing that?
We're doing Electric Forest.
Are we on that?
We're on Friday.
Oh, fabulous. We're doing like the 25th. What day of the week is the 25th? Is that a Saturday?
I think the 25th is Friday. I'm not sure.
Oh.
Really bad at calendars. Really bad.
I am too. Bad at calendars, bad at maps, bad at directions, bad at, anything that isn't the present moment, Fuck.
I'm good at maps, but I make bad decisions. So like I'll figure out
Gotcha.
a really great way to go, but why go that way? What it's like an extra hour, you know what I mean? But it'll be
I love that.
in my mind at first, and then I realize someone else should be driving, I guess, at that point. So yeah, it looks like we have Electric Force coming up. We have High Sierra coming up, which I haven't
That's
been
fun.
in a really long time. I'm excited to get back there. I actually have always really liked High Sierra.
That'll be a blast. I've never done it, and RIP, that is going to be my first ever, and I haven't, this is breaking news. This is breaking news if this podcast comes out before, July 3rd.
Yeah.
But I will, that will be my first ever gig since I've joined Marco's band that I'm subbing myself out for. Can't be there. Can't do it because my band, I play Friday night at Peach Fest with Marco and then Saturday with my band. On the main stage, and it was one of those you'll exhaust every option, and unless somebody listening has a private jet that wants to take me, it just doesn't work because Marco plays at noon at High Sierra the next morning, and it's just not gonna work. So
yeah, you could private jet to the airfield by the high school and be basically right at High Sierra. That would be the only way to do it.
That would be the only way. Should we ask, our pals, hi, touchdowns all day listeners, who's got the jet? Because your girl needs a jet. And I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure.
I think maybe High Sierra could give that person with the jet some free tickets and maybe a VIP keg or something. I think it would be a good story.
Right? I'm sounding the alarm. It's not like I want to miss the gig. I'm dying to do the gig. We exhausted all options, all the managers working around the clock like a bunch of lunatics to try and figure it out. It's just not going to work out unless somebody's got the jet. So if anybody wants to take me from Scranton to, where do you fly? The fucking
fly to whatever the name is of that town. There's a little there's a little high school
that town
area. Yeah, you got to go there. It's because what are you going to do? Fly to Reno and then drive up? That's still 2-3 hours that you lose. Where you could be practicing with Marco to put them as much as possible.
Yeah, and we got to figure out, what mode we're gonna, be in and all this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. Got it, yo, man, just do it like Dizzy did it. What? Yeah, exactly. No, exactly. So that's the hot goss.
What's that?
No, exactly.
You're waiting for your trumpet. So let me ask you a fan question. Okay, ready?
Okay.
So Alex, who's at Everlasting Bitch, said, let's ask you this question directly. If you are going to slap Chris Rock or anyone, would you use your whole hand or would you just bass thumb repeatedly? How would you do that?
I love that. Well, Alex, right?
Yes.
Alex. Instinct would have me using my back hand, or the back of my hand, just because you got to work on your pimp slap when you have the opportunity, But you make a valid point. The thumb would be more beneficial for me in the long run, I think, because it could really.
Movie, you'd have to figure out how to do it with the thumb because that would be like your thing. Your Wolverine has the nails, and you have the bass thumb,
Yeah, just absolutely go ape shit on Chris Rock with the thumb. Let's go with the thumb. I think it's the better answer. It's the more proper answer, and it's the one that would benefit me more in the end because you take any opportunity to callous up the thumb. So
exactly.
Thanks, Alex. I think you got to go for that.
If you don't work in Hollywood, you should because that is just epic character development in one tweet. It's amazing. All right, next question. Andy from @BoognishBear said, what bass wisdom did Dave impart upon you when you took over his role with Marco, and what is your favorite Ween song?
Oh, baby. Great question.
That's
Dave,
a question.
it's a hard question, but Dave, Dave Dreiwitz is probably, my biggest mentor in this world. And I had the, insurmountable task of filling his shoes in the Marco band, which is, to this day is not lost on me. And it's something I just want to live up to all the time. Dave, a few of Dave's like real like, moments of clarity with me and all this stuff was like, sometimes Dave and I would be jamming when I was much younger, and I would be doing all this fancy bullshit and like tooling around and trying to like be flashy. And he would be like, Karina, come on, let's just play some bass. And I was like, yeah, man, let's just play some bass, dude. You're so right. So anytime I like do too much, I'm quickly, the voice of reason, Dave Dreiwitz, is in my head being like, tone it down. Let's just play some bass or whatever. It's kind of great. It's kind of great. Even though, of course, I'm the guy who puts on the fuzz and goes absolutely ham and does shit that bass players should never do. So
It's
sorry,
because I think
Dave.
every single bass player has another person in their mind that says just play bass. Every bass player has that other like person that told them to stop doing whatever and playing bass or whatever that just play bass means to you bass players. It's this thing, y'all.
Totally. We have a complex about it. It's about, wanting to be complicated and flashy, but really knowing that our home is in the pocket and our home is to fucking, support everybody else. Even when you're in a trio and you want to just fill all that space, and that's a good one. That's a good anecdote right there. That's one of many. I mean, Dave has imparted more wisdom to me than just about anybody. He's one of the greatest people on this planet. And the band Ween is my favorite band around. And it's very difficult for me to pick a favorite Ween song. Wildly difficult. Just one that's really fucked up.
They're just so different.
Well,
it's like, how do you,
Yeah. I mean, I say if the gun was to my head, you gotta pick one. Don't even go, whatever. It's Transdermal Celebration of Quebec. That's probably my favorite Ween song. But that's incongruous with the fact that my two favorite Ween records are The Mollusk and Chocolate and Cheese. And that song appears on neither of those records. So complicated,
Ween
caveat answer.
Ween is like that. Ween, they'll name an album Quebec for no reason. I don't know why you would choose Quebec. It's cold and it's windy. I don't know why you would choose that. And then, Mollusk, I think, is like the classic that's hard to say that the album is just beautiful front to back. I feel like it's the great Ween introduction album. It's like, listen to this. If you can't get with this, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with you type of thing.
100%.
So all you fans who want to find out more about Ween, listen to that stuff. I want to ask one more question because there's the solo project called Too Many Zoos. And I need to know more about it. I just want you to give me the what is it and what's going on.
That was the band I just toured with like last week or whatever the fuck that was. They were born in the New York City subway system. And they are, a trumpet player and a sax player who went to Manhattan School of Music together and are super, like, absolute virtuosos and ridiculous at their instruments. And then they met a gentleman named David in the subway, busking as well, who straps an enormous kick drum to his waist and beats the ever-loving shit out of it.
Wow.
And then has, like, his snare-esque shit on top, you know what I mean? And like various percussive shit going on. And, man, I mean, we toured with them for, I don't know how long that run was, 10 days. I have lost all sense of time. But
Wow,
it's pretty incredible.
A little too
Yeah.
or something. I like that.
Something like that. Yeah, it was something for the kids right there. It was super, super fun. We had a blast. We went, upper East Coast and then, south on the East Coast, which was fun. And they're amazing. I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable. I just don't understand, like, you know, talking about Dizzy and talking about these guys. Like, can you imagine, like, every note you played is tied to your breath? I'm fucking out of breath, like, 2 seconds in. Like, what the fuck? These guys are sustaining just, like, the craziest, I don't even know. And they do. It's so insane. Yeah. And then they're doing
than them. We have so many amplifiers and delay pedals and
oh my God.
It's crazy. I have a whole computer attached to my thing, and like those guys were doing the most amazing thing with like a recorder that was slightly higher quality, you know?
Literally, that's what it feels like. Dude, and they're out there just going for like fucking 90 minutes, and I'm like, how are you even sustaining this? This guy, Matt's the trumpet player. I mean, what did they say about fucking Miles? He could hit the high C all night long. This guy could hit the fucking high C all night long. It's kind of ridiculous. They're amazing. They're a great group. You should check them out, and they have great recordings. They have really sweet sounding, tunes. One of which, there's a tune of theirs called Warriors that I believe it was in, I forget what kind of commercial, but it was in a commercial for a bunch of years. And was fucking, hopefully they made some fat stacks off of that. I didn't ask him about it, but this tune kind of goes. And I beseech the listeners to check that shit out. And it's rad. They're a great band. They're wild.
So did you play bass with them?
Oh, no. My band opened every night on the whole tour.
So you never jammed? They had no bass player in their band, and you didn't just like hang out? You're a New Yorker, they're New Yorkers, and just get a jam going?
Dude, don't you think, like, they had asked me, I would have been fucking knee-deep in all that shit? I would have been knee-deep, John. I would have been good to go. But no, they didn't call a sister up. They didn't call a sister up. So
this is weird. People are so... some people are comfortable with their show being exactly the same thing every night. And some people are comfortable with their show being a complete free-for-all. All kinds.
It's true. And, it is, being a bass player, it's kind of weird with the sit-ins, you know what I mean? As a rhythm instrument, like, but I could get up there. I could get up there,
The bass is
it's a little too much power. Dude, I don't even fucking know. But I would have been thrilled. Didn't happen. They didn't ask. It's all good. No hard, no foul. It's all good. But I'm into it. I think I'm getting more comfortable with the concept of the sit-in, in terms of like, because again, if you're a guitar player, you're a piano player, you're a horn player, you can just dance right on top of what everybody else is doing, right? You get called out, you're soloing. It's great.
Easy peasy. Don't even have to be in the scale. You just
easy money.
Easy money.
Yeah. Oh, dude, fucking half-step modulation all day.
Are you paying attention? How about that? Oh, didn't hear that? Okay, yeah, all night long.
Right there. You're hitting the high C all night long.
Get away with murder. Playing the wrong note and then putting it in the scale for the next minute just to make it sound right.
Dude.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. And you're hitting the wrong note, and then you're not even going a half step up or down to right yourself. Right. You're just like, this is strong, and long, and y'all gonna love it, you sick fucks. Yeah, man. But no, for bass, it's like a little more like, oh fuck, what song are we playing? Like I have to like know it. You know what I mean?
You're like, wait a second, I gotta hit this groove here. What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. And it's the story of my life. Is there a B section? What the fuck? You gotta know this shit. Whereas if I was playing guitar, I don't give a fuck if there's a B section. I'll figure it. Like I'll hear them do it, and then I'll dance on top of it. But if I'm playing bass, it's like, Jesus fucking Christ, like what? But anyway, I've calmed down. I've calmed down with all that because it's happened to me in the past, like, and I'm just like, oh my fucking God, like what is happening? Like, how is this going to work? And I've done it where like the bass player in the band stays up and we have a bass off, or the bass player in the band just hands me the bass and I take over. I think both are suitable options, and I'm a fan of the bass sit-in. I've learned to embrace it. I think it's cool. I'm here for it. So too many zoos.
It happens very rarely. It's a rare thing, but when it happens, it's usually pretty great. We've only done it a couple times in our whole career. Once was with O'Teal, and that's fun. It was really fun. He had a really cool take on everything. But yeah, it is a rare breed. You can always bring the trumpet player up. It doesn't matter what's going on. It doesn't even really matter, but you could switch in the rhythm section is tough. Drummers, you never swap the drummer. You always add the guy. You're like, oh, you You want to come sit in with us? Here's some tablas, even if you don't play them.
Yeah,
just do that.
totally.
Stand next to the drummer and do that.
Right. Just stand over my left shoulder and fucking hit this china a couple times and we'll be good.
Yeah,
It's like,
we'll
what?
say your name. It'll be fine.
Everybody claps.
Everybody
Very
will
nice.
there. It's great.
Ah.
It's like real show business when a drummer gets swapped out. It's kind of a
So
fun,
true.
It's kind of a fun thing about our scene, and you don't see this in other scenes, is a lot of collabing, and then you see it like on steroids in hip hop. In hip hop, it's all collabs all day long, and then it's nowhere else. And then in the jam band, we have little like sit-ins, but less collabs, but sit-ins.
Totally. And yeah, less, feature culture, right? Where it's just like this, this single featuring this guy or this single featuring that guy. And for that matter, diss tracks. You're calling each other out in hip hop. I love that. It's fantastic. It's the best thing ever, We need more jam band diss tracks. We're too nice.
We're too nice to each other. It's crazy. I don't know. Everybody has in the back of their mind this like, would Jerry approve type of thing, which is just, I don't know,
Dude.
What makes sense anymore. I think we should. The problem with this podcast is it's public. People obviously
Right.
know we get along. So then when we put out our diss songs for each other, it might not be that believable, unfortunately. But
Sure. I know.
I think we should still go for it. A nice diss
Dude.
war.
If you make one, I'll make one, but it's all love. We know it's all fucking love.
I'm gonna
You
screw
get
that
cloud
part up.
cord. I'll get cloud cord. We both use him to produce the Illmatic beats, dude. Yeah, that will be Jerry approved as fuck, and I can't wait. I really can't wait. I met Cloud Cord himself. Remind me of his real name. Derek. I met Derek in Houston at Emo's because he was sitting in. I was opening for Pigeons Playing Ping Pong, and he sat in, mentioning the sit-in culture that we have. It's a beautiful thing, and those guys are real good at it and real inviting and wonderful when it comes to all that stuff. And Derek sat in, and it was awesome. And I've just, now that I've seen all the shit you guys have been putting out, like produced by him, the shit sounds amazing. I'm so hyped on all of it. And it's like, I don't know. I think you guys are striking such a sick balance between, the live and the fucking absolutely medical, production. It's fucking sick. I'm all in.
Yeah.
And
Derek is,
he's amazing.
He's a huge key to that because nobody knows how he does what he does, but it all comes out sounding so good, where if I made it, it would never come out that good. And also, like, he has certain vibe and stuff, and he just brings that vibe to the track. Those tracks, the drums are all real. They're all being played by Alan, so it has this weird, is this techno, is it not thing going on the whole time? And he manages to mix that in a way that sounds really cool.
100%. No, it's about the blend for me, and he does a really masterful job of all of that. It's fucking really, really cool. And it was great to meet him. And then I'm seeing all the stuff with you guys, and I'm just like, wow, that was the guy who sat in and did all the shit. It was really cool. Unbelievable. So he'll make your diss track of me, and I'll make my diss track with him, you, and just like fucking just Jerry, man. Jerry was going to love all of it. It goes to Jerry.
We'll try and make Jerry approve. That'll be the theme of the diss track, is does Jerry approve it? It's like kind of like I think it'll be very roasty,
I think that's nice. I feel like on the inside, like Pusha T and Drake like love each other,
Yeah.
No, probably not.
In public, I don't think. We'll do it differently. We'll do it the jam band way, where everybody's all happy, but then we have diss tracks.
I think that's
We did
great.
Dumfries, it was fine.
Did you?
I didn't know.
I don't know about that.
Diss tracks. We just like, I went to their show and I fell asleep backstage, and they took a picture of it and put it on their backstage pass that they gave out to everybody. Which is,
I love it.
Why are you laughing? I don't get that humor. I don't see the humor in that. I don't know what's funny about that. My shirt was up, so my belly button was out. I don't see why that's funny. Like, they couldn't have picked the picture where my shirt was down.
It's unbelievable.
With these people. So obviously I looked tired, and then they made fun of that. And so we did a cover of Same Old G, and we changed the lyrics to like address the situation.
I
It was
love
G.
that.
It was super G, yeah.
Was it G? Nice.
It was good.
Nice.
I feel like that was the back and forth. It was legit. I mean, look, the picture was unflattering. I'm gonna be honest with you. It was an unflattering picture, and I still cry about it to this day. But I'm trying to be tough. I know I'm in the entertainment industry, and I have to be tough about this kind of stuff.
Got to grow a real thick skin around these Humphreys guys. They're gonna.
Seriously, can't eat any pizza around the Humphreys guys at all. No pizza.
No pizza. No falling asleep. Oh, wah. Jon just wanted a little nap.
Yes,
and you guys were going on and on and on.
like,
Show was endless.
40-minute Ocean Billy. I didn't even fall asleep. I lost consciousness and fell over on the couch.
Dude, sometimes enough is enough. You know? Sometimes enough is enough, you know.
I think if you're backstage listening to the music and you can't see the rock block they're putting up, then it just it gets overwhelming.
It doesn't count.
Yeah, you need to see the rock block to be really charged up. We have some shows with Humphreys coming up again in June, where we're going to play 4 shows with those guys and see how that goes.
Oh yeah, is that like a old does everybody get 2 sets in that format? What does that look like?
Honestly, I have no idea. I have no idea. I have no idea. B, I don't really care. I think that there's all these stories about Jimi Hendrix opening up for the Who and jumping on the table and being like, no way. And I don't know if I'm anyone. I'm not going to do that. I don't know if somebody else is, but
I feel like you might do that. Are you not going to do it?
I mean, I don't know if I would. I feel like there's too many positives to being done early. There's just too many positives. You're done at 8:05. You're in some cool place. You can go dinner at a good restaurant, go out, meet people. It's
so true.
Yeah, I see both sides. I don't know why Hendrix.
You're gonna drive your new fucking pickup truck with the hot tub in the back to the club and just be good to go. You're going to be cold lamping in there post show. It's going to be 8:47. They're going to be doing whatever they're doing in there. You're good to go.
Yeah, I'm going to be reducing my inflammation with a street ice bath next to the club.
Yeah. It's normal shit.
You just
it's
order
just normal.
champagne to the pickup truck in the club. I feel like we used to do that in Wetlands back in the day. That's what's going to happen on the early days and the late nights. We have to play late and close and be good.
That's awesome.
And all those things they expect in the entertainment business.
Sure. I mean, it's just cutthroat out there. It's just cutthroat. It's unbelievable. I think that'll be great, and that's fun. That's really fun. When's that? That's June or something?
That is June, I think 8, 9, 10, 11 or something. Yeah.
Dude. Unbelievable. Around the corner. We're going to blink. This podcast won't be out for 2 years after that. So, I mean, that's unbelievable.
Exactly.
Wow.
Hopefully we can release this podcast before the zombie apocalypse. That is the goal that we have. But,
that would be strong.
We released one last week. So I feel like this one might actually get released on time. I don't know why. We go through these stints where we're all about the podcast. And it gets released every week and everything's great. And then we just get bored of that after a while and we do other stuff. But the nice thing with the podcast is you can always come back and make 12 episodes in a row. And I get all these messages from people about how much they like them. It's just you've made more podcasts than me by a factor of 3. You
think so?
I made
at least
3 times as many podcasts as I have.
Oh, you want to fight? Should we fight?
I think so.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I have a problem where I can't stop talking ever, and then sometimes people put a microphone in front of it and it's just an absolute disaster. But yeah, no, I like podcasting, but I think it adds to the mythology of you and your podcast, the fact that you do things a little unorthodox, here at Touchdowns All Day. I think it's cool. I think it's a good thing.
That. It does add to the mythology, we have a certain simplicity to what we do where we don't get all crazy. We've had some podcasts that literally whole arenas of people listen to. We've had some huge podcasts and never let it go to our head. Never do we think, okay, every once in a while we get sponsors or something and pretend to be a real podcast. But our podcast, it's really just about listening to music. It's really, I'm not trying to
It's a beautiful thing.
be a professional podcaster. I'm just trying to listen to my own band's music on a regular basis because it's so. Do you find that to be difficult to listen to the stuff that you're doing on stage for people?
Oh, wildly difficult. Wildly difficult. I find that a lot more difficult than, I've just been beating myself over the head with all my mixes for this record and whatnot. And that I drive myself absolutely up a wall with as well. But I find that easier than listening to shit on the archive or nugs or whatever springs up, like live recordings. Because then I'm just like, oh my God, like what the fuck? But then if you were there and you're watching the video and you're watching people go absolutely apeshit at a moment where I'm like, this does not translate to the tape. Like what the fuck is this? It's tough, but it's humbling. It's good. I think it's good for you. There's always, those lightning in a bottle moments in what we do that are important to recognize and listen back to and try and learn from and see if they'll ever happen again and whatever. Yeah, no, I think it's an important practice. Do you do that a lot with your shit, or you try to?
I have a lot of different ways that I try and do that because I think with the amount of improv that we play, I feel like we are gonna just start using the improv to create music faster. Because the improv is like really, it's kind of, as far as music goes, it's fairly well thought out at this point. I mean, we're doing it at a level where there's A sections and B sections and all sorts of stuff, and harmonically it's all together. But when you walk off the stage, you're never going to find, you're not going to remember any of that. There's like a 0%. You're not going to, zero of it will ever make it to your life unless you like farm it. Where you and the podcast is part of that philosophy for me. It's like, how do I farm these shows? Well, I have this very public thing where I have to listen to them, and if I don't, the whole public knows. So it like inspires me to listen to these shows, and then we'll do this interview thing because I don't know. I like meeting people that I work around. We wouldn't know each other really if it wasn't for the podcast, and we got to hang out at the Mirage, and when I see you at all these festivals, we get to hang out. So it's like.
It's fun. It's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a little bit of work. It's a little bit of like...
you do. You put up a couple microphones. You shoot the shit with a person. No, it's a good thing. I feel you. I totally feel you. So when you're talking about listening back to your own shit, it's mostly for the purpose of fucking mining new song material. You're talking full A sections, B sections, and whatnot. Like you're listening for those reasons, among others.
Well, I haven't really successfully done that yet, so I don't want to say yes, but I think that is the reason.
Sure.
It's like I just would love to be able to understand what we're doing better, and make improvements on it somehow. But it's like so esoteric.
Sure.
It's so much like. We have our own version of Marco's "You're cool, just do it." Like we have our own version of that because there's a certain je ne sais quoi in the music. There's a certain like randomness and excitement that happens out of nowhere, and the more constraints you put on it, the less likely that's going to happen. So you kind of have to just let it be free.
100%.
Yeah.
So great.
Yeah.
I think you guys do a great job of that. And that's what's exciting about seeing you guys, among other things. And the songs are obviously, I love the songs, but there is sort of a magic in this kind of freedom, and just sort of like, let's just go for it. You just are on full send all the time, which I appreciate,
It's crazy. It's so crazy.
It's fucking sick. It's so crazy.
It's so weird. It's like, it's definitely like I definitely go see bands and they're very well coordinated. Like you go see Billy Joel or something, and every step that the backup dancers are all in, 40 years of choreography, and it's tough. It's tough having the exact opposite mindset of that, which is like no choreography, no this, and just like keep it completely loose. But I feel like you guys are doing that. We're doing that. Like, there's a couple bands doing that nowadays. It seems to be surviving in the business, kind of the jazz ethos of rock and roll.
Totally. It's like jazz punk rock to me. There's something so punk rock about it in the sense of just fucking, it's just raw it's just raw, you know, fucking take it or leave it. It's going to hit or it's going to miss. Like, good fucking luck, you know? I don't know. I sort of come from that world, you know, a little bit. Like, I grew up, you know, playing fucking thrash metal and punk and like all that shit. Like, you know, I love all that music as well. And, you know, I like kind of coming at it from that perspective a lot of the time, where I'm like, oh shit, like fucking, we're just gonna fuck faces right now. And if you like it, I hope you fucking like it. And if I fuck up, who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. If you don't, it's all good. Like, we're just, you know, when you're spontaneously creating, like you say, like you just gotta be open to the fact that it could hit or miss. And I think that's punk rock. Yeah. And it's jazz. So it's so many things. It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. I like it.
Yeah, it's a new jazz. We're making like especially with the like forays into electronic music, and there's some guys in the electronic scene that are doing some similar things too. So there might be some convergences coming up in the future. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but it's definitely,
and I love that.
It's gonna be fun to be out this summer to see what this new kind of music kind of turns out to be, with so many cool acts out there, kind of starting, making their first albums, going on tour. Like, these are things that are like seminal moments for people, and this summer is going to be a lot of that. I think all these festivals that everyone's putting together, I think it's going to be a really fun summer with the like, you know, I flew somewhere last weekend, and no mask the whole way.
No mask?
No
wow.
Uber mask, no nothing.
Wow.
I was like, holy crap, I like traveling again. Like, you know,
you're like, I'm good. That's amazing. Wow. Oh, right. You went to fucking New Orleans. Holy balls, dude. No masks down there. Holy shit. That's wild.
It was cool. I always overeat in New Orleans, so I'm always like rolling around the place. But like, it was really great. And the flight was so easy. And everything was so easy. It was like, holy crap, we can just travel again, and we're on it. That's crazy. So I feel like this summer, like, it's going to be a lot of that, and then hopefully we'll survive that. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, totally. It's a lot of throwing caution to the wind, and, you know, saying, let's hope this all works out. Sort of what it feels like to be on tour. I'm like, you know, I was like selling my own merch every night, like just fucking getting off stage and just hustling over there and slinging shirts and art prints and all kinds of crazy shit that I'm selling. And I'm like, ooh, Karina, like, this is not the math. Like, you gotta make, like, I mean, I love doing that, and like, it's all good, but like, I was just like, I am probably this close to getting COVID. I really, you know, I'm testing the upper limits here, but I didn't. I'm good. We're all good. But yeah, totally. It's like, and then it's like, well, if you do, the tour's over.
Right. Right. And you're talking to like 100 people after the show, and at least one of them has to have COVID. I mean,
100%. And they're screaming in my face, like right here, spitting all over me, like just like whiskey breath. Like, I'm like, oh, dude, like, how is this? Like, Karina, you got to stop doing this. But also, like, I love it. And it's so nice to meet, like, you know, I'm out there. It's great. Yeah.
It's definitely like a hard thing to do, but it's great when you get to do it. But I always found the poster signing process to be like very, very emotionally difficult for some weird reason, because you have to meet so many people so quickly, and they give you those big eyes, and you're just like affected by so many different people, and they're all so different, that I always thought it was difficult to do. But we've definitely,
it's an intense thing.
We've done, yeah. It's a really nice thing. It's hard to do it after the show. You play the show, and then you're like, okay, now I got to go to this other thing, which is also kind of a show, but not really.
Sure, and you're exhausted and emotionally wrought by the music you just made. Now you're seeing the wide-eyed people. You're touched they came. They're saying nice things to you. It's unbelievable. Yeah. It's amazing. It's an amazing thing. You know, it's not for everyone. My drummer, Chris, he's a very introverted guy, and he just can't even believe that I go out there immediately. Like, I put my shit down, and I'm like, see ya, and I'm like out there, you know? Right. Oh, yeah, like, especially on these little tours where I'm, you know, losing insurmountable amounts of money and, like, just fucking pulling it together by sheer force of will, and bootstraps and whatever, I'm like, I'm not paying for a merch seller. Your girl's out here, like, sayonara, and I'm going, and like, I don't know, my band, Adam, my guitar player, he's rather outgoing and like, a man of the people, but Chris, he's very, shy and like, keeps to himself and like, just can't even imagine the amount of energy I put out there just talking to people after the show. And then of course I lose my voice and then I'm like, oh my fucking God. And, I just thank God I'm not trying to be Pavarotti out there. It's okay if my voice sounds a little fucked up. And, you hope you get it back by the next show. You hope for the best. It's a crazy thing. It is a crazy thing.
I wonder if Pavarotti did do that, though. He had to, right? Pavarotti's definitely done tons of...
Do you think he was slinging?
...graphs after the show. Because he's only the Pavarotti that we know at the end of his career.
That's true.
That was 55-year-old Pavarotti. There was a 35-year-old Pavarotti. He didn't start singing at 54. He was singing his whole life and signing T-shirts and doing everything he needed to do, just like the rest of us are. And then he just made it to 55. And then they're like, look at this guy. Look at this guy. He's still doing it. He's
so fucking beautiful. Look at this fucking guy. Oh, my God. Yeah, you think he was, like, sleeping on the floor of the van like me? Like, what do he was probably sleeping in the death crack, man.
He's probably slept in, like, a mail truck or something like that. I could definitely...
Dude.
I think his role's a little different, though, because he probably is able to perform without any equipment at all. So he basically needs his clothing and to show up at wherever they're doing the opera thing. And then he walks out there and goes, I don't think he has he doesn't need an amp or anything. So there's probably a certain amount of just like jumping in the back of a pickup truck and driving to the next town and finding somewhere to crash in his whole lifestyle.
Right. And just being good to go before he became, probably, limoed and private jetted around. Maybe not private. You think Pavarotti's flying private?
I doubt it.
It's hard.
He's probably just trying to live a good life and trying to maximize his off time. He probably does as few shows as he can and tries to kill them, like just do the biggest shows possible or TV or something.
Totally. And absolutely bodying it in the process. It's great. I mean, I'm a fan. I just, when I, when I lose my voice, I'm not like, oh my God, like, thank God I don't have to sing opera tomorrow. Like, it's okay. I'll be there. It's going to be all right. It always somehow, at least so far, knock on wood, it comes back before the show, but you don't lose it hitting the high note. You lose it talking to people after the show. Really, like, it's just unbelievable.
You don't lose your voice at the show. You lose your voice at the after party. There's no question.
No question. People don't know that. You see, these are the things. You gotta inform the public. It's really...
These are the things. It's one of those things where, like, the problem is when you have a show the next day, that's the good after party. But with the show the next day, where there's no show the next day, the after party's not as good, frankly, because half the people are going home in their minds, So
totally.
You have to be able to do both, though. In this real world that we entertain in, the pros that we entertain in, you need to be able to go to the after party and then be able to sing the next day at the show. It's just one of those things.
Exactly. And like, if something suffers ever so slightly, that's on you, and you're going to be just fine, because you're going to muscle it through and you're going to thug it out and it's going to be okay, or you just got to tell yourself that. And then hopefully come like 6:45 PM, you're like, okay, I'm good. I got this. I totally got it.
Yeah. I put oranges on top of my amp, just like sliced oranges and just like rip oranges, like the whole first set. Trying to get through, because you're on tour, you're living out of this van with a couple of people or whatever, and somebody's like, I have a really nice house and we have people coming over. Like, you're not going to go to that. You're going to go to that 100% of the time, and that is, and then you run into this situation. It's impossible to avoid this.
It's a death sentence. You're just doing it to yourself over and over and not learning any lessons. And it's unbelievable.
There's a certain lack of lessons in the music business. There's no question. There's just It's the moment where society gets to celebrate the fact that you can totally exist fine and not do any lessons. Just
Right.
leave the lessons
Exactly.
alone.
And you just keep on existing. You keep on just playing your show day in and day out. You're sleeping in strange locales and traveling in a touring death trap. I really do like during the day. This is not unlike, the hotel baths that are unsavory that I take, but, on like a long drive during the day, I have been known to go into what we colloquially refer to as the death crack, which is like, in the Sprinter, like, where, if you're sitting in like a seat, right? Where your feet go.
Yes.
I'm just down in there. I'm like way
in between the seats.
In between the seats, like a mofo. Yeah. And then, your head is like right where the heat is, and talk about drying out your entire system, and you're just in there. And then, of course, like I'm the one with the credit card to put the gas on, which, by the way, it's not easy out there right now. But so, like, they'll like come to a stop, and I'll like feel that we've stopped, and then I stumble up, and I'm like, here's the card, boys, here's the card, and then like go back into my hole. It's really a crazy thing.
Wow. And so, but the fact that you even fit in there is amazing to me, because
that's what I say.
It gives you this whole perspective of touring that other people can't have, which is, how do you just lay down while you're on the road?
I just go right down in the crack, man. Giant down in the crack. It gets me right. That and the baths, you gotta get your little tactics for surviving, and then you're good.
Well, I agree with the baths entirely. I mean, we were looking for hotels with really large tubs for years.
I'm so happy to hear that.
Them. I mean, they exist everywhere, and those are good tours. Those are tours where I'm like really on it, because you're laying in a bathtub for 2 hours after the show instead of going to some after party and getting crazy. You're just sitting in a bathtub, relaxing and getting your energy to restore. So it's just, I don't know.
I'm so glad.
Yeah, it'd be so great. This whole pickup truck idea is just fabulous, because it really would be an amazing tour. Like the one, doesn't Bob Weir tour with like a full fitness setup with him, like the ropes and the trainer and the
totally
ropes, right? Well, it's a bathtub. Bathtub over. You know what I mean? Like all that working out is
real
fine.
talk.
Yeah, but the bathtub's probably just as useful, if not even more.
I think it's more restorative. Like I think Bob should add that to his rig. Because he's a man who probably needs a soak after all that. You gotta get back to one. The bath is key. That's good. I'm glad that you're on board for this. I think we can build this, and you can take it first, and then when you guys aren't on the road, I'll take it. We can share it. It'll be like a timeshare for the mobile hot tub.
Well, I mean, if you want to do that, I'm totally in. I will do a timeshare tub for sure, because it's a business as well as a restorative thing. And it's like,
absolutely,
musicians, we always have to start little side businesses to survive, and this is just the next iteration of that hustle.
It makes a lot of sense. It's a great hustle. I feel like we can rent it out to other people when we're not on the road. I think it's great. I think Aron will really be into it too. I think I don't know. He was trying to build that pool. Then he just got the above ground pool. I feel like he appreciates a good soak too. So I think you got two of you guys. I'm enough for us all. I'm going to enjoy it endlessly. So it's going to be great. Amazing. And then the boys won't look at me sideways when we, stay at a shitty hotel, and they're like, please tell me you didn't take a bath, did you? I'm like, oh yeah, I did. But yeah, it's great. I'm like, what's this shit growing on my leg?
I would think using the soap in that hotel would be worse than using the tub, frankly.
Couldn't agree more. BYO soap, always. You're always BYOing the soap, always the hair products. Imagine using those shisty ass hair products. I'd rather be
little
dead.
Tiny soap with the childproof wrapper on it that like
terrible.
sticks to your skin when you move it. Yeah.
and it's like ribbed or like not even, it's got like fucking like bumps all over it. I don't need the bumps. Get your bumps off my fucking soap. What is this?
I'm pro bumps.
You like the bumps?
Yeah.
You could have all of my bumpy soaps. You sick fuck. That's terrible. It's
I
disgusting.
don't mind. If I have larger skin, like I need a bump to scrape the stuff off. You know what I mean? I need a heavier form of sandpaper, or it doesn't do anything for me.
Sure, that makes sense. That checks out. It all checks out. Oh my god! Wow. Well, fuck. I mean, if we toured together, things could really be different. Things could really be different.
This is the future. This is the future.
Yeah,
we're
manifesting
here on the podcast, folks.
This is big. This is big stuff.
Well, thank you for coming on the podcast. I really appreciated talking to you. I think that we covered everything, and I don't know. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I feel like this has been a really great convo. I'm very happy about this. We are going to also release the second one right next at the same time. So
That's great.
We're going to have like a Karina, just binge all the Karina conversation. We're obviously talking about all your music in there and all your projects. So I think everybody can, go to their Spotifys and their Nugs apps and stuff and do everything they need to do. Listen to some.
I love that. Get it poppin'. Yes. Dude, thank you so much. Yeah, no, I think it's good. You get the time capsule. You get the 2020 in the trenches, and then you get the, the postscript or something. You get the 2022 doing better, back in the city, no turkeys, just shitty baths, and, sleeping in the death crack. It's like, just as we all intended it to be. So I'm stoked. Thank you for having me with the double header. It's great. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. We're excited. Crunk is very asked me to say thanks because he just thought you were really cool to work with scheduling this whole thing, and she's like, she's the coolest, man. Blah blah. So.
Oh, dude, Crunk Mike. Can we just let's give a rousing applause for Crunk Mike. Nobody is better than that guy. Real talk. I feel so crunk just texting with him or whatever. I'm like, dude. He gets me so lifted. I love that.
He's totally sober. It's insane.
Oh, dude. I mean, me too, basically. It's unbelievable. I feel it. I just feel him. He's so great.
He's like, you know, Towley from South Park. He's like the closest human thing we have to Towley somewhere.
Dude,
except
don't forget to bring Crunk back. Dude, Crunk is next level. I can't even believe part of the joy of all of this is that I got to talk to Crunk Mike so much. It's unbelievable. I'm thrilled. So thank you for bringing him into my life.
You're welcome. I feel that way with a lot of people. It's great.
Unbelievable.
All right.
Dude.
Thanks so much. I will.
Thank you.
I'll see you in like 2 weeks on the road.
Yeah, you will. Cheers. Thanks, John. Bye.
All right, everyone. We made it. Whoa, we made it. I'm converting. All right. Whoa. That's it. There's Karina. I don't know. We'll have to edit this down a little bit, but that was Karina Rykman. I always feel weird in the post interview because I want to continue to talk, but we just talked for an hour and a half, and that was that was the easiest hour half conversation I've had since before the pandemic. It feels like it's just, she's so amazingly funny and just easy to talk to and just hilarious. It's just I always really love musician hangs. I really love talking to other musicians. They're so funny, so we are going to wrap that. This is episode whatever. And there we go. The Karina Rykman episode. Thank you so much. Thanks to everyone working on the Touchdowns All Day Podcast Network, Crunk Mike, the Osiris Podcast Network, everybody involved. And hey, you guys have a great day.
We're mass communicating.